A company is considering investing in one of three different projects. The first one costs $2,400 and returns $600 per year. The second one also costs $2,400 but returns $800 per year. The third one costs $2,400 as well, but returns $500 in the first year, increasing by $200 each year until $1,300. The company would consider each project to have a discount rate of 10%. For each project, determine the conventional payback period, the discounted payback period, and the net present value if we assume that the project will last for 5 years. Okay, let's start with the conventional payback. For project A, we pay $2,400 in the first year, and then we get $600 back in the second year. So that gives us a cumulative total of $1,800. Then we get $600 back in the next year, so we've got $1,200. Then we get another $600 back, so we've got $600. And then we get another $600 back, and so now we've reached zero. So for conventional payback, it's going to be 4 years. For project B, similar set of calculations. We start off with paying $2,400. We get back $800, so now we're down to $1,600. We get back another $800, so now we're down to $800. We get back another $800, and now we're down to zero. So in this case, it's 3 years. Now for project C, same problem. $2,400 to start with. We get back $500, so now we're down to $1,900. We then get back $700, so now we're down to $1,200. We get back $900, now we're down to $300. We get back $1,100, now we're down to -$700. So therefore the answer's around about 123.3. Interpolating where zero is between these two answers. Now, the calculations for discounted payback are a little bit more complicated because we can't use these raw numbers. We need to convert them into discounted values. So, $600 paid after 1 year is worth $545 in present value. Similarly, so now, instead of working out the cumulative actual amount of dollars, we're going to work out the cumulative discounted amount of dollars. So 2,400 minus 545 gives us minus 1,855 minus 495 gives us 1,360. Minus 451 gives us minus 909. Minus 410 gives us minus 499. Minus 373 gives us minus 126. Notice we have a problem. We never got down to zero. This project doesn't pay itself off. Now we could check that because what we could do is we could calculate the NPV. The NPV would be this number here plus all of these numbers here. Now the net present value in this case is actually minus $126. This project has a negative net present value, so it's not surprising that our discounted payback period is longer than the project life. Okay, this one pays back more, so we're going to get larger discounted benefits. Let's see how large this one is. So in this case, we get minus 1673. Then we get minus 1012. Then we get minus 411. And now this number is smaller than this number, so we're going to get a positive answer, which is going to be 134. So our discounted payback period is going to be between 1, 2, 3 and 4. So looking at this, it's around about 3.8. Notice it's bigger than the conventional payback period. Now let's have a look at Project C. For Project C, 2,400 minus 455 gives minus 1945. Then we subtract 579 to give us minus 1366. Subtract 676 to give us minus 690. Once again, we reach the point where the amount remaining is less than the payment we'll get for the next year. So we switch to positive and our answer is going to be 61. So now, in between these two numbers, the answer is going to be 123 point, it's much closer to this than this, so 3.9 years. Now we said we wanted to work out the net present value. We've already done this for Project A. For Project B, it's going to be 633. And for Project C, it's 867. Now we can compare the different answers that we have. For the discounted cash flow, the best project is Project B because it's going to pay back in 3.8 years instead of the 3.9 years for Project C. However, what you'll notice is Project C has a better net present value than Project B. Now, why is this? Well, this is because we're getting larger paybacks from Project C in the later years. We didn't even bother working out any values here because we'd already reached the discounted payback period. So the net present value of Project C is better, but using discounted payback period, Project B was better. Project A was not worth doing using either net present value or discounted payback. It looked like it was worth doing using the conventional payback, which shows that conventional payback is not a good method to use for appraising projects.